Diamonds may be a girl's best friend, but for queens it was rubies that symbolized true power. Some of these breathtaking necklaces have witnessed coronations, survived revolutions, and traveled across continents. But one ruby necklace carries a secret so extraordinary that historians are still talking about it today. Let's begin our journey through the world's most magnificent royal ruby necklaces. Number 1. The Crown Ruby Necklace. It originated as a gift from Prince Albert to his wife, Queen Victoria. Rubies had a particular significance to Victoria. She associated the deep red stone with romance and devotion, and Albert chose them accordingly. The necklace alternates rubies with diamonds in a design built for both formality and longevity, and it was constructed to be worn as a complete jewel or broken into smaller elements, a common practice among royal jewellers of the era, who wanted maximum versatility from a single suite of stones. After Victoria's death, the necklace continued down through the family as an heirloom of the crown. It was worn extensively by Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who held on to the piece far longer than tradition might have suggested. When Elizabeth II was crowned in 1953, she should, by custom, have inherited the crown rubies immediately, along with the matching oriental circlet tiara. Instead, her mother kept both jewels in her own collection for the rest of her life. It wasn't until the Queen Mother's death in 2002 that Elizabeth II finally took possession of a necklace that had technically been hers for nearly 50 years. Some royal historians have suggested that this long wait is precisely why Elizabeth acquired the bearing ruby necklace in the meantime. A separate ruby piece featuring 3 large pear-shaped stones to fill the gap the uninherited crown rubies had left in her collection. The bearing necklace tells its own small story. Elizabeth purchased it at a Sotheby's auction in 1964, composed of 18 clusters of rubies and diamonds leading to a central element, from which 3 flat-cut rubies hang, surrounded by brilliance. For nearly 4 decades, it became her most frequent ruby necklace, worn with the Burmese ruby tiara on state visits from Japan to China to Slovenia, standing in for the crown rubies she couldn't yet wear. Today, the crown ruby necklace belongs to King Charles III's branch of the family, and it has already reappeared on Queen Camilla, who wore it in 2023 alongside the Burmese ruby tiara for the state banquet honouring the President of South Korea. As for its make, the necklace is set in gold and silver, alternating oval and cushion-cut rubies with old mine-cut diamonds in a classic Victorian collet chain design, finished with a detachable clasp that allows sections to be worn separately as brooches. Not every royal ruby has centuries of provenance behind it. Some arrive as diplomatic gifts between living monarchs and become part of history simply by being worn well. Number 2. The Ruby Filigree Garland Necklace. This is a 4-strand piece combining diamond filigree work with 18 pear-cut rubies, the 4 largest set at the centre in diamond halo frames. Jewellery historians widely believe the necklace was a personal gift from Middle Eastern royalty, quite possibly the late King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, to Camilla, at the time the Duchess of Cornwall. The set also included matching earrings and a bracelet, echoing the same pear-cut ruby styling throughout. This kind of gift, a complete parure presented from one royal house to a consort of another, sits within a long tradition of diplomatic jewellery exchange between the British monarchy and the royal families of the Gulf states. The Duchess of Cornwall debuted the necklace publicly in 2015, wearing it to the royal film performance of the second best exotic Marigold Hotel in London, where the layered rubies caught nearly as much attention as the red carpet itself. Gifts of this scale are not unusual between royal households. British consorts have received comparable ruby suites from the Sultan of Brunei and from Gulf state royalty over the decades. Jewels that rarely come with the same detailed paperwork as inherited pieces, since they're private gifts rather than crown property. That's part of why the ruby filigree garland necklace remains a little mysterious. Its exact origin is widely reported, but never officially confirmed by the palace. Unlike the centuries-old crown rubies, this piece represents something rarer in royal jewellery coverage, a genuinely modern gift, given not by inheritance or marriage, but by one head of state's family to another's, in the language rubies have always spoken best: power, respect, and permanence. As for its make, it's crafted in white gold, using intricate diamond filigree wirework to form 4 connected garland strands, each anchored by a large pear-cut ruby set inside a halo of smaller, brilliant-cut diamonds. Now we travel back to the court of Napoleon Bonaparte himself for a jewel with one of the most well-documented pedigrees in all of European royal history. Number 3. The Danish Ruby Necklace. In 1804, at the coronation of Napoleon and Josephine de Beauharnais, a woman named Désirée Clary was presented with a lavish suite of ruby and diamond jewellery. A necklace, earrings, a brooch, and a pair of branch-shaped hair ornaments. Désirée was no minor figure. She had once been engaged to Napoleon himself before he married Josephine. She went on to marry the French Marshal Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte, and in one of history's stranger turns, Bernadotte was later elected Crown Prince of Sweden, and Désirée herself eventually became Queen Desideria of Sweden in 1818. When Désirée died, the Ruby Parure passed to her daughter-in-law, Queen Josefina of Sweden. In 1869, Josefina's granddaughter, Princess Louise, married King Frederick VIII of Denmark, and Josefina gave her the ruby set as a wedding present, reportedly because the red stones and clear diamonds matched the colours of the Danish flag. From there, the rubies passed through generation after generation of Danish royal weddings, to King Christian X and Queen Alexandrine, then to King Frederick IX and Queen Ingrid, who was herself a direct descendant of Désirée Clary, reuniting the jewels with her own bloodline more than a century after they were made. In 1935, Queen Alexandrine gave the parure to Princess Ingrid of Sweden as a wedding gift, when she married Crown Prince Frederick. A moment captured in official wedding photographs, showing Ingrid wearing the full suite: tiara, necklace, earrings, brooch, and a bracelet crafted from the original hair ornaments. Queen Ingrid went on to wear the parure at some of the most photographed occasions in 20th century Danish history, including state visits and her own daughter Margrethe's wedding celebrations. The jewels became so associated with major royal events that Danish commentators began referring to them simply as the Ruby Parure, without needing to explain further which rubies they meant. The set eventually passed to Queen Margrethe II, and in recent years, Crown Princess Mary of Denmark has had the necklace and other elements of the parure carefully restructured, preserving the original design of the pieces while making them more versatile for modern wear. That restructuring is itself part of a long Danish royal tradition, where inherited jewels are quietly modernized by court jewelers so they remain wearable across changing fashions, rather than locked away as untouched museum pieces. Today, more than 220 years after it was created for Napoleon's court, the Désirée Clary Ruby Parure remains one of the most actively worn jewels in the Danish royal collection, appearing regularly at the country's New Year's levee. As for its make, the necklace pairs graduated cushion-cut rubies with old mine-cut diamonds set in gold in an Empire-era garland style, with articulated links allowing the piece to sit softly against the collarbone. Our final necklace belongs to a monarchy that, officially, no longer exists. Number 4. The Greek ruby olive wreath necklace. The story begins with Queen Olga of Greece, born Grand Duchess Olga Konstantinovna of Russia, who married King George I of Greece in 1867. According to the couple's son, Prince Christopher, King George purchased a rare pigeon blood red ruby for his wife every year, on their wedding anniversary, believing the stones suited her complexion better than any other gem. Over time, this collection of individually gifted rubies grew large enough that George commissioned an entire suite of jewellery to house them, choosing the olive wreath as its central design, a direct reference to the laurel wreaths of ancient Greece. The finished parure included a tiara built from diamond olive leaves and ruby clusters, a flexible ruby and diamond necklace with detachable pendants, a pair of earrings, and 2 brooches. Queen Olga wore the set for a series of formal portraits in the years before the First World War. When she died in 1926, she left the ruby parure to her second son, Prince Nicholas, whose wife, Grand Duchess Elena Vladimirovna of Russia, had a formidable jewellery collection of her own. The rubies were passed down and loaned between multiple generations of Greek and Yugoslav princesses over the following decades, worn at coronations, weddings, and state visits across Europe. In 1956, Princess Nicholas lent the parure to Queen Frederica, and upon her death the following year, left it to her permanently. Queen Frederica wore the rubies at major state occasions throughout her reign, including a state visit to Great Britain in 1963. In 1964, when her son, King Constantine II, married Princess Anne-Marie of Denmark, Frederica gave her new daughter-in-law both the ruby parure and the Greek emerald parure as wedding gifts. At the time of that wedding, the Greek monarchy still seemed secure. Constantine had been crowned only the year before, and the wedding itself was one of the last great royal celebrations held on Greek soil before the political turmoil of the following years took hold. Photographs from the ceremony show Anne-Marie wearing the full ruby suite, a young queen inheriting jewellery built from decades of anniversary gifts she'd never witnessed. Then, in 1967, the Greek monarchy was overthrown, and the royal family went into exile. But the jewels went with them. Queen Anne-Marie of Greece has continued to wear the ruby parure for decades since, at royal weddings and galas across the courts of Europe that remain open to her, even though the throne it was made for has not existed for more than half a century. Her continued use of the parure has made it one of the very few pre-war royal jewels still worn regularly by the person it was originally passed down to, rather than resting in a vault or a museum case. As for its make, the necklace is set in gold, forming a flexible olive branch motif of pavé diamond leaves clustered around individually selected pigeon blood rubies, each stone chosen to match in colour and depth. That's tonight's countdown of royal rubies. A British heirloom was finally inherited after 50 years. A modern diplomatic gift between 2 royal houses. A Napoleonic jewel that found its way into 3 different monarchies, and a wreath of rubies still worn by the queen of a country that no longer has a crown. 4 necklaces, 4 royal houses, and 1 colour running through all of them. The deep, unmistakable red that royal families across Europe have chosen for over 2 centuries to represent love, protection, and power. From a Victorian wedding gift to a Napoleonic coronation suite, from a monarchy still standing to one that exists only in exile, these 4 necklaces prove that a jewel can outlast the throne it was made for. Tell us which one is your favourite in the comments below. And before you go, please like and subscribe to our channel for more royal jewel stories.